Saint Blaise, the patron saint of Dubrovnik.
Cannonballs, which were used in the past for defense.
There was 4 cruise ships here. They have 11,000 people.
11,000 people within a 400-meter area.
Of the main street, Lazarettos, and on this stone wall on my right-hand side, you can see one remain of the old gravitation aqueduct. The old gravitation aqueduct was built by Onofrio Giordano della Cava in the first half of the 15th century. And 2 years afterwards, he built this big Onofrio's fountain. So for the very first time in the history of this town, at that point in time, Dubrovnik got modern water supplying system. For example, even before Paris. He built also at the end of the main street a small Onofrio's fountain. So he built the old gravitation aqueduct and 2 public fountains. First official foundling's home was established in 1432. So this foundling's home was established in 1432 and was in function until 1927. In the past, the Republic of Dubrovnik passed a rule, or law, that it's strictly forbidden to bother a young mother who would like to abandon her child when she would approach the street of the night. One wooden wheel. She would put her child, baby, on that wooden wheel and send it inside. To the ladies who would nurse over that baby until such child would be 6 years old. And then such child would be given for the adoption to some local decent family.
Our guide said Dolce Vita is his favorite ice cream place here in the old city, and that's just where we went by accident yesterday and had delicious ice cream. He also talked about how narrow and steep this area is because the government had passed a rule that it was just too small. Inside Dubrovnik is only about 400 meters by 400 meters, so everybody had to just build on upwards with common walls.
In this region we have typical Mediterranean climates. It means that we have mild winters and hot, dry summers. We rarely have some snow in this far south of Croatia, but winter 2-3 years ago was so cold and we had some snow, and that snow lasted 3 days. So it was something astonishing for all locals. Some of the locals took their skis and they tried to ski on the main street of the old town.
It's incredible that anything survived between wars, destructions, earthquakes. I just found out that Knoba means tavern.
Sponza Palace. Sponza Palace was originally built in the first half of the 16th century. Marketplace, where all local and foreign merchants would bring their merchandise goods, store them inside, sell them and buy them inside. So my suggestion is to have a short peek inside of this palace, since in the western wing of this palace there is one room. Merchandise goods were stored in this place like this one. Each one was distinguished from the others with a different name.
They said the record held the amount of visitors inside this little tiny area to right here was 15,000 visitors in one day. That particular tour guide is telling the story of Orlando, actually the name for Roland, Charlemagne's nephew, a knight, and it's a long yada 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 story. That's the outside of the palace. It's time for all the bells. It's noon. So far, let's see, we've seen signs of celebrity. We've seen signs of, say, Holland, America. You can actually see Orlando right this moment without the whole tour group standing in front of it. This is the small Onofrio fountain. The water is drinkable, I'll say that again. You can see poor Orlando is surrounded again.
Standing before the city clock tower, the original one was erected in the middle of the 15th century, but that original one was pulled down in the first half of the 20th century.
It's the former home of the city guard.
Next street from the church of the patron saint of Dubrovnik. This present church was erected in the first half of the 18th century. And during the existence of the Republic, this ornament was used as a pillar of the shame. So it means that whenever the city guards would capture in prison some local thief, such person would be put on the donkey, sitting vice versa, and they would walk with him down the main street and come back, and such person would be tied up with dishonest color to be exposed to the public shame, at least for 1 hour.
There's a line right here that is exactly 61 centimeters, and he said that after somebody would go purchase material inside, they would bring the material back out and measure it to make sure nobody got cheated.
The term of office of each rector governor was just 1 month. Actually, you can't do any harm while you're in the government during just 30 days. And then, such person had vacancy of 2 years. And this is the entrance into the Dubrovnik Cathedral. On this staircase, you can easily notice the difference in color of these steps. Why? Because they were damaged during the war.
It says no pictures, no video inside the cathedral, and every single tourist inside here is taking video or pictures. Guide Dennis told me that the dungeons were originally inside the rector's palace. This stone building straight ahead of me is the Lazaretto, and that is where people who were thought to have had the plague or other contagious diseases were cloistered to make sure it didn't spread to the general population.